Previously on the HHN Obsession podcast.
I gotta sway, I think, to 27.
Oh, so you are going to go to 27.
No, that was a good year.
They both have amazing house lineups.
I'll give it to 27.
Yeah, I think for now I'm going to go with 27.
If I was a time traveler and I could go to any of these again, 27.
It would be 27. Yeah, that's a good point. Look at it that way. If you had to pick out of these two, you would pick that one.
I think I would.
So I agree. 27 is a very, very close winner to me for 28. As of now, we are saying 27 is our favorite of those 2 years. Although it's very close to me. 28 is a phenomenal year that I'll always remember.
Yeah, that was a hard choice. I didn't want to give it just because it's the first year, but overall, yeah, I have to do 27.
Since we've been talking about this for so long, let's do a part 2 to this episode where we do a versus for 32.
Yeah, if you're still here after all these back and forths, then that means you enjoyed it. So this was cool.
What is up, my fellow HHN obsessees, and welcome to the HHN Obsession podcast, where we talk about all things HHN and obsess together over this amazing event. I am your host, JJ. We, of course, have the co-host, James
Isaac Neutron the Third.
Oh,
That's me.
now I know his full name. That's cool.
Yeah, don't give my address, just my name.
Oh, that was my next topic.
No, skip it.
No, but welcome to part 2 of the overall battle of our top 3 favorite events. Last episode we did 27 versus 28, but now we are moving on to 32. How we're going to do this is we're going to go through 32 and then we're going to compare it with the winners of the previous episode. So it could be 27 or it could be 28. So it's kind of the Frankensteining, as you put it, James, of 27 and 28 winners versus 32.
Yeah, the mismatch, abomination against God of just the winners of the two years. It's a mismatchup that we're contending against the strong.
Well, hold on, the winners of HHN 27 and 28 are abominations of God. Is that what you just said?
I mean, you're splicing up just the strong parts.
Interesting point, man. We are going to get right into this and move along from that last topic. HHN32, last year's event. It's very recent and very fresh on our minds. So let's keep that in mind. Yes, it was the most recent thing we did. So don't let that favorite out of all the other stuff.
Yeah,
just keep that in mind.
That's why I'm saying how pure this past year is going against a behemoth of different parts. So this is gonna be cool.
All right, so let's go straight into talking about the A spot on the map, and that was Blood Moon Dark Offerings. We have talked about how much we both love this house. It was number 1 for you, number 2 for me. So this is actually going up against Stranger Things Volume 1 at HHN28.
Okay.
So that's a great first start here, because the first Stranger Things house was obviously by far the best one out of the 3. But was it as good as Blood Moon? Which is wild, because Blood Moon is an original house, and the fact that we're even questioning just
Blood
shows
Moon had
how...
something to prove.
Yeah, it did.
And it did it. I mean, it was purely, unadulterated, no fringe. It was a haunted house, and it was top notch. But then Stranger Things was a perfect showcase. Wow, never thought I'd hold these two together. What are your thoughts?
I loved the Stranger Things house that year. That was, I believe, so that was number 4 on my list that year. With Blood Moon being number 2, and just the amount of gore and just greatness of that house, I think I'm aiming for Blood Moon
Me too.
to be the victor for that one. Again, I'm worried that it's just because it's newer, but it was such a great house.
No, it's the winner, because with Stranger Things or any IP, really, the end goal is to showcase it, and it's less about scaring everyone, because a lot of those have younger audiences too. It's trying to get the full everyone demographic. So Blood Moon's not for
So,
everyone. Definitely, it's more rated R than Stranger
so,
Things. So
so I do think number one for this particular first house would be Blood Moon. Second, Stranger Things, and third would be American Horror Story. And I think that's a great list for those first houses there.
yeah, good lineup. Yeah, Blood Moon definitely has to take that one.
All right. Oh, I can't wait for this. Second house, letter B, The Exorcist Believer. um, if anybody's heard the previous episodes, you will know James's really harsh opinion on that house. So this is going to be interesting because we're going to see where this goes. But the winner for last episode of the B house was The Shining.
Oh.
The Exorcist Believer against The Shining from HHN27.
Gee, that's tough. No.
That is straight up sarcasm, James.
Yeah.
That's not nice.
Okay.
Okay, let me think here.
Yeah, you delegate, because I'm kind of done thinking. So.
I know you are. Your instant answer is The Shining. You didn't have to say it. My thing is, I put Exorcist at number 4. The Shining was also number 4 at HHN27. So
this is gonna be interesting from your perspective. I mean, they're both big properties, and they did pretty well. Yeah, how are you gonna line them up?
So The Exorcist Believer, to me, was more scary than The Shining. It had some great scares, in my opinion. There were some really cool things with the whole one of the last scenes where the exorcism goes wrong and there's like lights coming out of the ground and the scene is red. Just little things like that. Obviously, we had a bad run the first time. To me, it got better after that, and it's a newer film that kind of takes away from it a little bit, not being the original Exorcist. Now, up against The Shining, it's a classic. The haunted house, the sets were way, way better than The Exorcist. I mean, to start off with that hedge maze and it's snowing and going through all the important scenes of that movie, going through that whole bathroom scene with the creepy old lady in the creepy old lady in the bathtub, the blood coming out of the elevator. I'm gonna give this to The Shining. It's gotta be The Shining. And I think it might be The Shining by a lot.
Huh.
I know I loved The Exorcist last year, but The Shining is above that to me.
Even though the other one was scarier, Shining takes it.
Yeah, The Shining did have some scares, obviously, but the fact that I got to go through that classic film, one of the greats too, and just seeing the scenic of all of it, it was beautiful.
So we're both at The Shining.
We are. And just to clarify, the other one was Carnival Graveyard. So I think that could stay third. So we will leave it there. So The Shining wins that round.
So you can't just give it to the scariest one. There's like all different factors.
So The Shining wins over The Exorcist and Carnival Graveyard. So that is a point for 27 there.
That's right, Exorcist. That's right.
So now we are going to letter C from HHN32, and that is Stranger Things 4. And that is going to be up against the winner from HHN28, and that is Scary Tales, Deadly Ever After.
I mean, I think it's Stranger Things, because it was a home run. Scary Tales had their impression, but...
I'm going to tell you something, James. I disagree. I think Scary Tales was a much better house than Stranger Things 4.
Oh. Huh. Okay, well, better? Sure.
All those
but
Stranger Things.
Look how fun it was.
All those Stranger Things 4 was good. I don't think it was like amazing. There was some things they could have done better to it, but it was fun. It was a lot of fun. I think on our live reaction episode, it was like the house that we cheered the most in. You can literally hear us cheering in there. That gives it more of a chance, I guess.
What does Scary Tales do for you?
Scary Tales was, I think it was more entertaining. because there's all these nursery rhymes or fairy tales that were brought to life and made into like a horror version of those. Hansel and Gretel, Rapunzel, Humpty Dumpty.
Right?
Yeah. And I know there was a couple more. I just can't think of what they were at the top of my head. Maybe Three Little Pigs, was that in there? Or Red Riding Hood?
I don't know. I'm still with Stranger Things. I can appreciate the work and originality of and it's not even that I can only appreciate it, because I do that was a good one, Scary Tales.
Okay, but here's the problem here. Was Stranger Things 4 better than Stranger Things 1 from 28?
Yeah, but we're not talking about that. We're not comparing Stranger Things to Stranger Things. We're comparing.
But those are two separate houses from two different events.
Yeah, but how does where the Stranger Things ranks in its own pocket? How does that affect it against something else?
It affects the year overall, because this year had a better Stranger Things house than the other year, right? I'm only doing this because it's the same property.
Yeah.
I think as an overall win.
I think you're cross comparing. I don't know. No, it was not better than the first Stranger Things, but it was still a lot. Saying it's a lot of fun sounds condescending. It's like it takes points away.
Like, I'm gonna be totally honest with you. I think for this round of houses, I think Stranger Things 4 is third.
Whoa, what was the loser against Scary Tales?
The other one was The Fallen.
Oh, what? That's a strong one too.
Scary Tales and The Fallen.
Those are strong ones.
Scary Tales won though, the last episode's round.
Yeah, but it was tough against The Fallen.
It was.
No.
The Fallen was very unique and scary, and that's the issue here.
Okay.
Is up against those two houses, I don't think it's better.
No, if it was alone against Scary Tales, I'm in favor of Stranger Things. But if it's against two independents, that's cooler. But how are you gonna team them up? Well, then who's Scary Tales is number one of those? Like, if the two are...
I think so. I think it's Scary Tales, The Fallen, Stranger Things 4.
Yeah. You can't Fallen's gonna stay where it is because it was already up against Scary Tales. Yeah, that's fair. I hadn't factored in as two originals. Yeah, that's stacked up. Alright, Scary Tales, yeah.
Alright. So far, only 32 has only 1 point.
You gotta reward the originals, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, you got to.
So, next up, we have Dueling Dragons, Choose Thy Fate, up against Poltergeist. And Dead Waters, if we want to go there.
I see. Now that's a easy
Dueling
one.
Dragons, no. Yeah, that was bottom of my list. It was cool that there was two endings. I love that, but I just wasn't connected to that property. I never got to do.
Yeah, and it's not strictly horror. It's
and it wasn't scary at all. Like, it was just.
Yeah, that one was more testing the waters. It was cool. It's
Dead Waters.
Yeah.
So, Poltergeist wins that round. So that's first. What's second?
Yeah, that's easy. Oh wait.
Dead Waters or Dueling Dragons? I say Dead Waters.
Yeah, Dead Waters has to be better than Dueling Dragons. Dead Waters is a haunted house, and it's a real.
Should I give a point to second place so we know what the last third loser is?
Yeah. Make sure you know which are the third placers. Just put A, B, or C or whatever the year.
Yeah. So real quick, what was second place for the Shining round? There was also Exorcist from 32, or Carnival Graveyard from 28.
Shining, Exorcist, and Carnival. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Fine. It could be number 2.
Exorcist 2. Okay.
Because it smells like number 2. Oh, yeah. I said that. Number 2.
All right. Quickly moving on to.
But that's only because carnivals are cruddy.
So this is going to be a little different, I believe, because for 32 there was 5 soundstage houses, and there wasn't for the previous years. So next up is Yeti Campground Kills. We're gonna go ahead and compare that to the Men in Black tents. So this may not be a fair fight. I don't think it is. It's different locations. So Yeti Campground Kills up against Blumhouse 1 and 2.
Yeah, Yeti, right?
Yeah.
You're gonna give it to Yeti. I know.
But is that
Blumhouse
fair?
is Blumhouse. Yeah. Blumhouse kind of stuffed all their stuff in the little boxes. I mean, I know it's like a chocolate box of horror movies. It's cute. It's nice. It's a little bow tie. But Yeti, people worked on that. There was like, that's not just an IP to shove in people's face. Like, hey, come see our movie. Money, money. This is from the heart, Yeti. Yes, I believe in them. Yeti.
I mean, yeah,
represent.
Yeti has no competition over Blumhouse. Blumhouse was a lot of fun, but Yeti, come on, man. Hell yeah.
Totally.
All right. Let's go ahead and... So for the next one, this is the Fast and Furious queue. So let's compare this one with the Shrek houses, which were the last ones. Because that would only make sense, because the Shrek house doesn't exist anymore. So we're going to do Chucky Ultimate Kill Count versus Saw and Halloween 4. Saw is third, without a doubt, for me.
Yeah. Okay, fine. Halloween, Chucky, Saw.
Yeah, I agree. Halloween 4 wins that round with Chucky getting second place.
That's my bad, Chucky. I fought for you. Actually,
I mean,
not right now. I didn't fight right now. I gave
I
in
think we would
immediately.
get annihilated if we put Chucky as this round's winner. Because although Halloween 4 wasn't everybody's favorite, I feel like they would still say that one was better. In fact, somebody would probably say that. Somebody would probably say Saw is better out of all these, but I wouldn't.
Chucky, just to clarify, Chucky, and I didn't fight for you this time, but I was rooting for you in the start, from the start. But right now, I mean, it's kind of settled. Sorry. Do better next time, Chucky. I love you, Chucky.
All right, here's a fun one. Here we go. Tent House #1 for 32. Dr. Oddfellow's Twisted Origins. That is up against the last episode's winner, The Hive, and Slaughter Cinema for 28.
I want to put it in third. Does that mean?
I think I agree. I just had so much fun in The Hive and Slaughter Cinema. Dr. Oddfellow was a great house, but I think I had those two houses a little higher than Oddfellow, but either way. I love that these are all original houses too, by the way, but
yeah, because the Slaughterhouse, or the Slaughter Cinema, it's more creative. I mean, just arguably. No offense to the Oddfellow. I mean, that's his origin, and you got to work on the origin, but there's more to chew on in Slaughter Cinema.
the next one is going to be even juicier.
Oh, juice. All right.
This one is going to be hard for me. 32 was The Darkest Deal, Intent #2. But at 27, it was Scarecrow, The Reaping.
The Reaping.
I'm sorry, Scarecrow, The Reaping. He's trying to bring that into existence here.
Yeah, we got to believe it's fairy rules. We're going to change history.
So let's try to compare here. Darkest Deal, the story was by far better than Scarecrow. It had way more story to follow. However, I thought Scarecrow was a little more original and scarier and darker. That was a dark house. Like, it was hard to see in there. It had some kind of cool effects versus Darkest Deal had some kind of cool chest effects when his soul was being ripped out. The idea was cool. It was done very well, and Darkest Deal will forever be top 10, if not top 5 favorite houses.
Mm-hmm.
It's... Oh, God.
Give me the third place again, because it's Darkest Deal.
Dead Exposure. Dead Exposure's
Exposure.
third. That's third,
Yeah.
man. That's got to be third. Although I like that house, it's third. I think I'm going to give it to Scarecrow.
I was thinking that.
I think Scarecrow is the overall winner just for being the atmosphere of it, how scary it was, the cornfield facade outside.
Yeah.
Just overall, it was an experience, man.
Yeah, these ones are like adult houses, the ones that are serious and they go for the scare, the pure, the soul of the season or whatever. I mean, I'm not saying there's not a lot of them, but when they're there, they need to be appreciated, right?
Absolutely. I agree. Next up, we have... So this is interesting because there was no winner for 27 because there was nothing at 27. But let's go ahead and compare the Asterisk House that we had for 28 to this year, which was Last of Us versus Seeds of Extinction. So I know you loved Last of Us. If you want to talk about it first.
That's so weird. They're like sort of similar,
They are.
Okay, this is gonna flip-flop my standards or like my judging process because I see an IP and I'm kind of against it because its priorities are to sell over the scare or the Seeds of Extinction was more desolate than scary, right? It was like an abandoned place. I mean, yeah, there's scare actors, but I think Last of Us, it does it better, and it was more spaced out, like more. I mean, desolate, you think open space, so I'll say Last of Us was more desolate, but because the other one was more claustrophobic. It was like you're going through a hoarder house. Last of Us, you're in it, and I want to give it to Last of Us, even though it's not the underdog in this case.
So you think Last of Us, it should be first? Is that what you're going for?
Yeah, I vote Last of Us. I don't know. Are you going for the...
I want to give it to Seeds of Extinction, especially because I had Seeds as my second place that year, versus Last of Us was like my number 7 house.
Yeah.
Or number 8. No, I think it was number 8 for me.
And it's original. I enjoyed Last of Us more.
And I think the scenery of Seeds of Extinction was way, way better. I think it was prettier. Also, the scares were very hidden in Seeds of Extinction. They were blended into plants. Don't forget that school bus outside.
Yeah, school bus.
Come on,
like
James.
dangling.
James.
Nah, I'm gonna stick to Last of Us. I loved it so much, and Seeds of Extinction didn't leave a huge impression on me. I think we're gonna divulge on this part. We're gonna divert.
Yeah, I don't know how to solve this because I think I really disagree with that.
You wanna put it like a half mark on it, or some kind, maybe another asterisk, or are we doing we're splitting timelines here? We're gonna have two.
I have no idea.
Seeds of Extinction versus Last of Us, which are both spore, kind of planty, mushroom, overgrown apocalypse.
This is a very hard round.
Why do they happen to match up so much, like right there in the same place? We're gonna crack the code here. We're gonna find out there's patterns. There's patterns in this.
Nah, I think it just happens to be that way sometimes.
No, you're gonna get a knock on your door, and they're gonna.
Oh my god! Hey, you're the one that said it. Like, you're the one that said it.
You're getting too close.
I am disagreeing, people. Just to whoever's listening, I'm the one disagreeing. Just saying.
No, it's not about our rankings. It's about like they're getting too close. They're figuring it out.
You're figuring it out.
The system.
You're figuring it out, sir.
What? Well, you're here too. They're gonna shoot you.
I'm disagreeing with you.
But you're hearing it. You know too much already. You're gonna make the final pull. You're gonna like veto.
Like, I'm trying to decide if it's worth me just agreeing to Last of Us and putting Seeds of Extinction at second place. It's still not gonna help the overallness of the event for me.
Overallness? What other factors are you putting on the seeds versus the spores?
I really liked that house. It was my second favorite house that year.
Well, yeah, the house, but like if you're factoring in their respective years, how does that help each?
Having Last of Us at the event was a cool thing to have. Like, it did bring a really big IP to the event. It was very interesting to go through one of my favorite games of all time. Okay, fine. Last of Us can win the round.
Oh,
I don't.
Right.
I don't fully agree with that, but for the podcast's sake, let's just go with that.
All right.
I feel like there's going to be a lot of people that disagree with this, so I'm on your side, people. But just for
that's cool.
Decision's sake.
Yeah, and I'm not on a lot of these. I'm not like I won't budge, but like this one, I mean, that's where I stand. That firmness versus if you're willing to, for the sake of the thing. Nothing against your personal ranking, but yeah, I ain't budging. Sorry.
All right. So for the final house, we have Universal Monsters Unmasked versus Ash versus Evil Dead and Trick or Treat.
Contenders.
Ash vs. Evil Dead was the winner. Monsters Unmasked, I think, was amazing. The facade, as soon as you walk in, was crazy, and it was raining in there. There was just so much cool things going into the Phantom of the Opera, smelling that flowery smell. But then it's versus an IP that's very fun and funny.
And an underdog in its own right, I mean, it's not like a huge...
I really enjoyed going through Ash vs. Evil Dead. A lot of fun.
I'm leaning towards them.
I was leaning toward Monsters, though.
I could hear it the way you're talking about it. And, because it is their property, it's a lot of originality there.
Ash vs. Evil Dead versus Monsters Unmasked. You think Ash vs. Evil Dead was better than Unmasked?
Man, you keep throwing that word better. That's like so
I mean, overall, as a house, the scenery, the scares, how fun it was, the costumes, I don't know, the grandness.
I'll tell you why I'm rooting for Ash vs. Evil Dead. I'm not like rock solid right now, so like don't take advantage of that. But it's a property that's been flopped around to different hosts. It's a passion project, and it's survived. It's jumped to stars and different. It had to survive like a roach. It has its roots in independent stuff, even though it's grown to be a big property now. It's not the biggest property ever. It's like still, it's like a cult thing. So, and it's still going, and it got a show, and they threw in a butt like cadaver.
The show
I
is out
have
there.
to respect that. Like, they made it so far enough that the peak.
But
They got a
here's,
haunted house, and they got a butt cadaver.
here's the thing, though. The show shouldn't be compared to the event, though. We're talking about the house itself.
Okay, because I was gonna go into Universal is like a no. I mean, they're the original movies, and then Universal is hosting their guys. It's like their Mickey Mouse.
Right. And they're creating original ideas from those original IPs that they have.
Yeah, so there's that longevity, and I know you're telling me to be impartial on their histories, but I'm taking them into account. Like, okay, the houses themselves. I still liked Ash vs. Evil Dead, and because it's on the fringe out there, it's smaller, more cramped, and had more character. Universal Monsters doesn't feel as personal. They're cool, and it's cool that they're still going, and I like that they're adding to the stories. But, if we're talking scariness even, both of them, not very scary. They're even comparable, they're old things that are still going. I mean, it's hard to compare a new thing like Evil Dead versus like the ancientness. No, but
With how fun Ash vs. Evil Dead was, and how many times we did it, it was the first year we went. I think I'm okay with giving the win to them, but it's only if you're certain. That's
yeah, you know how much I love Universal Monsters. I'm just going if I'm going on the house experience, and we can reward the work that goes into them, but they both put up their fights. I'm for Ash vs. Evil Dead.
But to me, this is a very close second. Monsters Unmasked is very close second. I think I can be okay with it being second. And Ash
I had to
versus
chew on that one.
first. All right, so that is the house lineup. So we do have the final score as far as the houses go. So what I'm going to do is for all the number one winners, those will equal 2 points. For the second place, will equal 1 point. Is that fair?
Yeah, that's fair. That last one was a really cool comparison. That was a tough one, but yeah,
it was.
I'm down.
Okay, let me tally up the results here.
Again, they were kind of similar. They're older properties that had their roots in like independence, and then they blew up and they're still here. So like again, they're in the same category. Very cool. I feel like we're opening our third eyes to the underlying blueprints. The code of Universal.
Oh man, this is juicy here. So as far as houses go, obviously this is not the final score. You ready for this? Coming in third place with 9 points is HHN28. Coming in at second place is HHN32 with 10. And then HHN27 is in the lead with 11 points.
Whoa.
So 11, 10,
27.
9.
Dang. Okay. Wow. I was thinking like at the end of the last one, we did not plan to have it evenly split like that. Like, and we were looking at each individually, and then they both like tore in half equally, like in different parts. That's bizarre.
Let me point this out again. 27 is winning by a point, and that's because they're down a house that we weren't even able to score with. So they have an X in one of the columns on my list here because we weren't able to do a point for that round. But even then, they're still winning by a point.
Man, they're fighting with a missing foot.
Yeah.
They're killing it. Well, not even a missing foot. The other guys evolved. They got the extra foot.
The reason 27 is winning is because Shining got first place, The Fallen was second place, Dead Waters second place, Blumhouse Volume 1 second place, Hive first place, Scarecrow first place, and Ash vs. Evil Dead first place. Lots of first places.
Well, okay, so as of now, right? So what else? We got scare zones.
We've got scare zones, and we got shows, and even food. A lot more food for 32.
Ah, the food. Oh no.
So this is kind of a fun shock, where HHN27's in the lead as far as houses go. To be fair, though, one of them was Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I was almost going to go with Monsters. So it could have been a tie.
Dang. Nah, but I don't want to go back because I thought a lot about that one. It's just because there was more character with Ash. I think that's the final factor.
Scarecrow also beat Darkest Deal as well. That was a hard round for me. Starting the scare zones off, we have Dr. Oddfellow's Collection of Horrors versus those other introduction zones, Altars of Horror and the Harvest. Personally, I can just go right into saying that I think Dr. Oddfellow's should win, just because that one was more unique, because it had an icon, basically. Besides the icon, there wasn't much to it, but the fact that Dr. Oddfellow was there in his caravan, just interacting with people walking around, that automatically makes it the winner for me.
Yeah, it's fully fleshed out. It's thought out. You know, it's part of the story they're going with. Like, he's welcoming you in a false sense of security, and it's like it's doing two jobs. You know, it's being a scare zone, welcoming you in, but it's also tying you into the story. So like, that's doing a lot. That's asking a lot of like an entrance house, you know, or what do you call it? What do you call it? The first zone that you see.
Oh yeah, the welcoming scare zone, the opening scare zone.
Yeah, that's a lot to ask of it. No, yeah, it has to be that one.
So, automatic win for HHN32 there. After that, we have the always fun Vamp 65 in the New York zone. Sorry, 69. Sorry, Vamp 69.
69, dude.
My bad. The other ones were 5s, 55 and 85, so I got confused there.
I wonder why they would change it from 65 to 60. Why do you think they would do that? Why would they go 69 of all numbers?
I wonder why.
I don't know. I can't think of it.
All right. So Vamp 69 is going up against the winner, The Purge from HHN27.
Ooh. Take away its freshness from your head if you can. I don't know if you can.
That is one of the hardest things to do. So, Vamp 69, so much fun. Obviously the best scare zone of the year. You have so many characters roaming around in different costumes, but blending in to the crowd. They're all interacting in their own way. They're all improvising with whatever they can. The soundtrack to the zone, those are some of the factors I'm looking at for that. On the other hand, I have The Purge, which was very chaotic in the best way possible. Just chaos everywhere. The whole mini show that they would do on top of the bus, where like the president or whatever would come up and have somebody killed during the purge.
I have a question that will factor in my judgment.
Okay.
Do I give Vamp 69 credit for tying in Oddfellow's origin, or is that just a lazy tie-in? Because you could just say, oh yeah, that was his idea too, or you could take him off and it's the same exact scare zone minus Oddfellow, you know?
That's the thing we need to factor in when we're doing the overall score, because I feel like cohesively 32 is the best cohesive year out of all of them.
But can you give them independent credit for that? Because, you know, you could just say, and also he was there and did that, you know? You're just crediting Oddfellow with it.
But Oddfellow, out of all the scare zones, did he actually fit into Vamp 69 very much, or did they just place him in there saying he was connected to it?
They could have just plugged him in. I mean, it's not his style to be all 60, 90, flashy, hippie.
Yeah.
But I mean, if you're looking for... Nah, he wouldn't think, like, let me go prey on, you know, out of their mind zombie hippies, you know? That's not his first thought. That's not his style. I don't want to attribute the cohesiveness in this discussion. Is that fair?
I think that's fair. Another thing to add with the Purge is they used a whole nother street. Like, they used all of New York as the zone.
Yeah,
so
that's
much grander.
See, also, the Purge by that time is a little too late, right? Because you're already in houses a couple times, people are getting tired of you, and then you nail it. you know, and then they've done the vampires before.
I think at the time they'd only had brought the Purge as a house once, and there was also the Purge zone before this. So this was the second time they used it as a zone, if I'm remembering correctly.
Are we comparing those?
Well, we didn't see the first one.
All right, I'm gonna disregard its previous run.
Yeah.
Just in my thoughts. Vamp 69 versus Purge.
Soundtrack versus brutal killings.
Fun versus, you know, the point of it all, you know, horror and fear and immersiveness. Mm-hmm. Purge?
I think so.
Ah, that sucks. Haha, sucks.
Oh god.
There you go.
I think they were both amazing zones, but I just had so much fun in the Purge. It was our first year.
That hurts to do it to Vamp 69, but I'll tell you, when you strip off its plot armor, you know, Oddfellow, it's just a good time. There's not, I mean, it's simply fun, and nothing against that. It's just, yeah, the Purge worked for it, I think, you know?
Absolutely. So I think it's safe to say Vamp 69 is second place, and Purge is first, Vamp 85 third.
Dang. Sorry, vampires. Oh, man. That's a tough one right there.
Unless you want to fight that, Vamp 85 should be second.
No.
69's better than 85, right?
Yeah, even though they got Freddie Mercury walking around, that's pretty cool. But that's unclear. Like, is that actually dead Freddie Mercury, or is it an impersonator that died and he's this guy? I don't know. But you know, you got a clear idea with Vamp 69. You know exactly what's going on. You think if a vampire bites a corpse, they can become a zombie vampire if you're quick enough? Zombie vampire. Vampire zombie?
Alright, moving on. We are going to the San Francisco zone of HHN32, and that was Shipyard 32, and that was both our number 5s for this past year, versus Killer Clowns from Outer Space. Obvious winner, right? Killer Clowns beats that, correct?
Yeah. Yes.
Killer Clowns, way more fun, way more colorful, just goofiness. I love it.
It was the Invasion, and then that's last, and then Killer Clowns.
Correct. Should Invasion be second and Shipyard last? I think so.
Yeah.
I think.
Hold on, but Invasion was kind of. No, I want to give Shipyard number 2.
I think Invasion was always so crowded. We never really got to enjoy it as much. It was just a bunch of aliens moving slowly through it. I thought the crashed UFO was cool.
It was fine.
Give me something about Shipyard 32 that would.
Well, if you're looking just at it like aesthetically, or the Shipyard looks like a real place that they're, you know, what do you call it? They're like trafficking weird creatures. It's like the darker. It's the dark web of Shrek. And Invasion seemed like some kid's doodle that they like decided to let's make it real. And it's very generic aliens walking around. It's like the obvious UFO, and they don't even look that great, really. I mean, I'm gonna hate on them. It's kind of weak, you know. Shipyard, I know that was weak too, but it was at least, you know, it made sense. It looked real, like Pirates of the Caribbean or something. So that's how I'm gonna rank it. I'm gonna put number 2 Shipyard.
Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and agree with you. I would have said Invasion, but it's just they're so similar
like
to me.
bread.
Yeah, they're so similar to me in the sense that they weren't the real greats that year. However, there is a big fan base for Invasion for whatever reason. That was a lot of people's favorite. I don't know why.
Sorry, guys.
Yeah, maybe somebody can comment and tell us why. But we didn't really get it. It was always crowded and there wasn't a whole lot going on. So I guess I can agree with Shipyard 32 being second. Next up, Jungle of Doom Expedition Horror in the Central Park area versus Trick or Treat.
I want to say Trick or Treat.
Jungle of Doom, right off the bat, my thoughts are we got lucky with our experience because it wasn't as crowded. Although you said it was a little crowded, but nothing
even
compares.
For us.
But nothing compares to what I saw on videos.
Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. But like just even the level of crowdedness, like you can imagine how much worse.
the fog was just so much. There was way too much fog to where you were basically blind in that zone. The atmosphere is always cool in that area. And I do love the Oddfellow tie-in to this one in particular, because this was his very first appearance. This is like the earliest that we saw him. This is young Dr. Oddfellow trying to get the skull of immortality.
This one he wasn't just stamped on as an afterthought. This is his thing, his origin. You know, I didn't see it during the day either. That was a regret.
Really cool zone, but I think Trick or Treat is gonna take the win for that for me. It was such a beautiful zone. If you're cool with that, I just wanted to talk about it a little bit, not just say, "Oh yeah, I think that's the winner."
I was leaning towards Trick or Treat because of the vomit fountain.
That's the reason.
That's a big reason.
But here's the problem.
The actor, he's fine. He's alright.
I think the hardest decision here is if Jungle of Doom is better than Twisted Origins. What's going to take the second place? Or not Twisted Origin. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Twisted Traditions.
Oh, well then the Oddfellow. Yeah, I thought you were cross-pollinating again.
No. Do you think Jungle of Doom was better than Twisted Tradition?
Yeah. Look, pumpkins are a little on the nose, right? It's Halloween, so here comes something that's an origin, and it's like jungle. It's kind of left turn, and it worked out. I mean, it's his origin, and it's doing a job. It's not just being a spooky place. It's showing the harshness that this guy endured. You know, so that you got some respect for him.
I truly think Twisted Traditions is better.
Really?
Think Halloween. Like, it's Halloween Horror Nights. It's more Halloween-esque. It's like the perfect... It was like Wicked Growth, the haunted house.
Yeah.
At HHN30, but as a scare zone, sort of. Like, lots of pumpkins, lots of Halloween-esque vibes.
Yeah. I'm not taking anything away from the coolness of the costumes and stuff. Like, you can have the sickest thing. They should even make little figures of their pumpkin monsters. That'd be cool.
And here's another thing. Here's another thing. I could actually see it. Jungle of Doom was so foggy, and the fog was so thick it ruined
the darkness. Okay.
Yeah.
Because what I'm thinking is, what are they doing? You know, what's the job? You know, these are load-bearing houses. If you got a scary pumpkin zone, like, they're gonna kill it because it's pumpkins, it's Halloween, they look sick. That's like a given. The jungle, you know, it's doing its job. It's like I said, it's putting you in Oddfellow's shoes. There's this new guy, and they're putting you through his eyes, and it's a risk, you know, jungle on Halloween, but they managed to make it intimidating.
So you don't think pumpkin vines taking over a town and turning humans into pumpkin humanoids is not a better scare zone than Jungle of Doom?
Well, for what they're doing,
I'm fighting this because I think Twisted Traditions was a great zone.
Because you'd put that in any year, it's going to do well. It's going to be received well. It's pumpkins, it's monsters, it's freaky.
But comparing it to Jungle of Doom, I think Twisted Tradition did it better. And even because the courtyard before the trees had extra stuff too, and they don't usually do that. They built like a church and put a truck there, had some scare actors roam around that area too.
If I'm removing Oddfellow from it.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing is that it was easy to remove him from Vamp 69 because that's obviously he's an afterthought. This is a whole, you know, he's the center of it. If I'm removing him from it...
To be fair, though, they did throw him onto one of their original ideas. This Jungle of Doom scare zone is a sequel to a scare zone or a house. It might have been a house at one of the early years of Horror Nights. It was when it was back at Islands of Adventure, one of the Islands of Adventure years. So they took an old original that they had previously, brought it to this event, and said Dr. Oddfellow was in this Jungle of Doom.
Okay, so it has origins outside of Oddfellow. I didn't want to give the obvious one, you know, but pumpkins, I mean, if it's well done.
I thought it was well done.
Let's see. I mean, yeah. I'm picturing the big monster with the goop inside his head. It's disguised as his face. I mean, I'll give it to it. It just seems so obvious.
I think it should be obvious.
Yeah, that's nothing wrong with that.
Cool. So we got second place Twisted Origins and Trick or Treat first, Jungle Doom third. And then finally, we have Dark Zodiac in the Hollywood section versus Chucky from HHN28.
Okay, the way I'm seeing them, Chucky has its stage and then its peripherals.
Mm-hmm.
The Dark Zodiac, the whole thing is the focus, like all of it. So I think I want to give it to the Zodiac just because they all have the spotlight, the shared spotlight. Chucky's, you're in his toy box and it's cool. It's spaced out, you can fully, feed your eyes on all the individual, toys, the messed up toys. But Zodiac, I'm going to give it to Zodiac. That's where I stand.
Well, let's look at Chucky. Chucky was my favorite scare zone that year. Was it your favorite scare zone that year?
Of that year? Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We closed out HHN28 in that zone, and it was a lot of fun. All those cursed toys and factory workers that Chucky had.
See, now we're flip-flopped. You're going off experience over the the better of the two. You know what I'm saying? You keep throwing better.
I didn't say Dark Zodiac was
one.
better.
Well, but if you're looking at them, Dark Zodiac is better, right? It's thought out. They have the monsters based on the Zodiacs, and they all
it is
are
original.
equally spread out, right?
Yeah, it's original. What I was gonna
Chucky,
say
I
is
would have spaced better.
The Chucky characters I thought were going nuts. They were scaring the heck out of people. And there was also like little mini stages. They were like really cool. There was like an operation type thing going on.
Oh yeah, they had all those.
Yeah,
there wasn't a lot of stage stuff in Zodiac, but I mean not stage stuff. What do you call it? Like dioramas or whatever.
Zodiac did have a unique lineup of characters.
Everyone's like, "What's your sign?" and stuff. So like makes it a contender, I think.
But then you have Chucky that you could talk to, and he can
That was a lot of fun, and I really liked our conversation. I'm so happy about it, and it was hard to talk to him. You had to talk real loud, and still it was hard. And I saw clips, and it's always like that. Like everyone who talked to him it was a struggle. I'm not dissing the toys either, and that's because I had a first-hand experience with him. I should be giving him brownie points for my I should be grateful for the experience and be rewarding him. The layout, I don't know about the layout, because he was the center stage focus, and everything else was kind of open, like really open. I feel like it was. You think they filled the space pretty well?
I think so. It was all throughout Hollywood. They just had that one. They just had the big stage in one area of it, but there was still a lot of other stuff going on in that scare zone. It was completely full, like it usually is.
I mean, I'll give it to Chucky. I'm not gonna fight against Chucky. It's just between the two. If we're talking better, because that's the hard decision-making word that you keep throwing at me, and I'm like, oh man, better, and then I have to be impartial. But no, I mean, personal experience, Chucky was a lot of fun, and I got to talk to him.
That should be a factor. Like that really should.
Should it?
I mean, both. Which one is better, and which one did you have a better experience? I mean, they should be factors to outweigh.
I mean, me personally, I would choose Chucky personally, but if we're going impartial, better, more people are into like the what's your sign, Zodiac, whatever's.
When I say better, I mean like the one that was most enjoyable, the one that will live in your memory more.
I can't do that though. I can't go based on purely my experience because then I'm gonna be snubbing some big dogs.
Well, hold on. That's what this is all about. We're trying to figure out what our favorite year is, and it has to be about all the stuff we enjoyed from that year, what we enjoyed the most. That's the most important thing, I feel like, right?
It's not about yeah, I mean, yes, but I was thinking like you also have to reward. You can't. You gotta show love. It's like you support what you want more of. It's like the small movie that's low budget. You go support them, and then they do well. There's more of that.
I am not dogging Zodiac. I think it was fun. I think it was great. The ideas were really cool. The costumes. That one character that like walked backwards and looked like it was actually walking forward. The two-faced person.
Yeah.
Genius. But like the fact that they were able to make all these Zodiacs into monsters. Great. But comparing it to Chucky, I think Chucky was more fun for me and had more stuff going on than Zodiac did.
Here's a question. Obviously, the Chucky house was not great.
Right.
Pretend that never existed. Okay, and then what do you think Chucky would work better as a scare zone or a house if done right?
Scare zone.
if done right.
Because it already was done right as a scare zone.
Well, okay.
He
You
had-
gotta credit.
He had all his maniacs walking around that entire zone. And they were all different toys, damaged toys, cursed toys, possessed toys, and factory workers from his doll factory.
Yeah.
It was a ton of different characters that were
Were they
interacting
from the
with
movies?
people. No, I think it was original.
Personally,
The full name of
I
the
loved-
zone was Revenge of Chucky, by the way.
what's he revenge for? Let's see. It doesn't say why he's vengeful. Maybe he saw the future. I enjoyed Chucky more. I mean, that's the bald truth of it. But I can't go purely on that because then I might fall into the mainstream. You know.
I mean, I think that's what we have to do. We have to put that first, and Dark Zodiac is still going to get a point second, and it's still going to be part of the overall experience of 32. We still liked that.
Well, Chucky all the way, all day.
All right.
I'll never. I'm not gonna go against him. I mean, if I was going pure, like personally, then it would be Chucky, obviously first choice. But I'm looking at like, I don't know. Better changes it scrambles my thoughts process. Better makes me think like the effort and the thought and stuff. Because Chucky already existed. You know, they didn't have to design that. So that's a big, you know, like way less workload. Everything else has to be designed from scratch, kind of.
All right. So let's move to shows real quick.
All right.
So for the show of HHN32, the single show, Halloween Nightmare Fuel Revenge Dream versus Bill and Ted.
Let me think about this. I'm gonna go Bill and Ted. I think I'm gonna go Bill and Ted, maybe.
You thought long and hard about that, James.
Bill and Ted. Long and hard.
Bill and Ted is the absolute winner for me as well. I mean, it was just fun, and I think they should bring something like that back. Yeah, people were probably fed up with it because it was 26 years of it, but damn was it fun. And it's a bummer we only saw that last year, but I'm glad we did get to see at least that year. Also, it's competing against 2 other years that only had 1 show, and that year had 2 shows. It had Bill and Ted and Academy of Villains out in front of Mel's Dying. So, I mean, I think that is also a plus. It had 2 shows compared to 1.
Yeah.
I'm personally going to go with Nightmare Fuel as second over
Okay.
Academy of
Scared me.
Villains. Academy of Villains Cyberpunk.
Right.
No, I said Bill and Ted's the winner.
Yeah, but then you were saying it sounded like the deciding factor. Number 1 is gonna be, and then you said Academy of Villains. I was like, what? No, Bill and Ted. That's easy.
All right. So, with zones and shows finalized, I'm going to rack up the points. Let's see where this goes.
Hey, maybe Nightmare Fuel would have been cooler if, there was some talking in it. You know, if it was like part play. Because it was just, there's no one's talking. There's a sleepy person that we're supposed to relate with. But they just wake up and they're scared and they're toss and turn, and maybe that would have helped.
Whoa. Wow.
Wow.
Okay, hold up.
Me too. Me too, wow.
This is interesting. I mean, we still have the food to talk about, so I don't know if I should reveal what the score is right now.
What happened? Did it shuffled up again? It lined up? How? That happened with our list too, our top 10s, when they 69'd, remember? Another equally balanced thing.
So, let's just talk about this real quick. So, food-wise, no competition. HHN32 had the most food.
Oh, yeah.
Does that make it better? Was there enough good stuff to make that the winner?
Okay, if we're not factoring in the obvious winner because of the variety, take its top 1 or 2, or you can't go top 3. Let's take its top food, which how are we going to find its number 1? And then that has to contend against what Pizza Fry is in the Stranger Things food.
Yeah. And
Or
does the food
the
even
lineup.
matter? Does the food even matter of the overall event? Like,
Is it going to sway?
if everything was tied, would the food break? Like, would the food be the tie?
If it was a dead tie, I think it would sway it somewhat. Yeah. If it was a dead tie, then if the scales are like this and you just blow on it, then that's a factor.
Okay, another thing to mention about 32, the Megan Horde.
Oh yeah.
And the
Would that be versus the chainsaws? But they had chainsaws too.
We didn't take that in consideration. Yes, it would.
But then we had also a chainsaw horde, aside from the Megans. What was that?
So
this year, this past year,
the chainsaws were part of a scare zone, part of Zodiac.
Okay, that's different than a horde. The Megans were a horde.
Yeah, they were their own zone technically. However, they would appear throughout the park or two different spots in the park, versus the horde in Simpsons would stay there. Personally, the clown, if we're trying to rack up points for that, the clown chainsaw horde wins at 27.
Yeah, no question.
Do we want to count that as a point?
Yeah. And then I want to put Megan's after that. Is that cool? Megan's number 2, even though there's 2 chainsaws. If you're comparing chainsaws, the number 2 chainsaw is like already redundant. I want to put Megan's in number 2.
Okay, I'm cool with that.
It is out of left field. There were never a horde of Megans. There was only one Megan. Why are there a million Megans dancing around? That's funny. I mean, I know it's a doll factory and there are multiple Megans, but like we didn't see that. That's cool. That's funny.
And then for 32, we also had the Peacock Bar with David S. Pumpkins.
My gosh, where does he line up?
We can't compare that to anything because it's its own thing. It's just something that was added to HHN32.
You want to asterisk it?
I mean, sure. We got an asterisk for more food.
Asterisk.
And for David
asterisk.
S. Pumpkins.
Asterisk Youth. That'd be a cool band name.
Here's where we're at. Just doing the scare zones and the show. They were all tied with 6 points.
Hold on, scare zones and shows. All of them 6?
32, 27, 28. Between the scare zones and the shows, all had 6 points. So the order would be the same if we stopped there. Between the scare zone and the houses, it would be 27, 32, 28. However,
you're talking about the next swaying factors.
However, if we incorporated the roaming hordes as points, the clown chainsaws bring HHN27 to the lead with 8 points, HHN32 with 7 points, and HHN28 with 6 points.
Give me the asterisks.
So hold on a second. So with the houses, so far, the houses, scare zones, and shows.
Yeah.
That means HHN32 has 17 points. HHN27 has 19 points.
Whoa,
and
wait a minute.
HHN28 has 15 points.
32 has what, and 27 has what?
With everything we've included so far, the ranking with points is 32 has 17 points, right? HHN27 is in the lead with 19 points.
17 and 19.
HHN28 is 15 points.
That's with the hordes.
Yes. So, HHN27 with points is winning by 2 up against 32. But we do have to think about. What?
If I'm being lazy, 32, just with all the bonus factors.
Yeah, it
right?
has Dr. Oddfellow.
If I'm skipping all the if I'm skipping all the thought process of like, but how do is it fair to, it had so much extra. I think I'm going to just, if you even think about it, I mean, you could just skip the thinking. I think 32 takes it. No? Because all the food, that has to count. And there's so much of it. So if that counts.
But was it all good,
that helps
though?
it.
It wasn't. It wasn't all good.
Most of it. What do you mean it wasn't all good?
And then we have to factor in the show and all the houses as equal one piece. Overall, was it a better year?
2 points. 2 point difference.
And
how much do the asterisks
let me throw this out once again.
2 strong points.
27 had 1 less house than 32.
Oh yeah, it's still limping and it's doing all this. Here's my exchange rate. So it's a 2 point difference. All the let's just tally up all the bonus whatevers that are on the table. Mm-hmm. There's the Peacock Bar with Harry Houdini, and there's all the food, obviously. What else we got? I mean,
Dr. Oddfellow's overall story at the event at 32.
Yeah, just in general, Oddfellow.
Mm-hmm.
And we had the Megan Horde, but there was chainsaws. But the chainsaws don't count because that was part of the scare zone. Are they canceled out?
Yeah, the chainsaws are part of the scare zone. They're not separate.
Yeah, but they're still chainsaws. But so they're canceled out because they're
doesn't matter. There could be chainsaws in any scare zone. It's not a chainsaw horde.
That's why I'm asking. Because to me, you get Megan's and chainsaws in the same year. That sounds like something. But if it's confined to a scare zone, I get it.
As far as hordes go, we were comparing the hordes.
I don't think those chainsaw guys were there all the time. They just they flurried and then they left.
No, they were there.
They hung out.
What you're talking about is at the very front entrance. They would go there at the start of the event, and then they would come back to the zone after that and stay there. They were always there.
Well, then you do get a bonus chainsaw.
No, that was for the opening ceremonies. The chainsaw hordes would appear there in the other years too.
All right, irregardless chainsaw qualifications, all of these mini factors, do you think they equal 2 points? Because they're because I don't think they're 2 points, right? They're like mini factors. That I'm not gonna find out how much of a part of a point it counts. I'm not gonna scrape points.
Right.
But hey, go back real quick. Just to the food wasn't all great. What? Did we not enjoy so much of it?
Okay, the hot dog, the mushroom thing, I did not like.
You ate it wrong.
Did I?
You gotta split the wiener in half and go double barrel.
I mean, yes.
All right, 27.
I love. I mean, I'm not immediately going for that. I'm trying to figure this out because yes, there's more food, but is it even worth having all that food?
If you're careful about which ones.
Quantity over quality?
Well, no one told you to eat everything.
I do like that there's multiple drinks, more drinks, drink options.
You do? You like the variety?
Man. Okay, recap real quick of 32 and 27 houses.
Okay.
As far as greats go. Blood Moon for me was a highlight of 32. Yeti, highlight. Darkest Deal, highlight. But then we have Last of Us, which I think was a highlight for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
Exorcist, I mean, I know you hated that, so I'm not even going to say that, but for me, it was part of it. I liked it. But Monsters Unmasked, so we got all those. Great lineup. Stranger Things 4, I didn't even mention that. Stranger Things 4. Although we put that third in its category. Stranger Things was not at 27, but at 27 we got The Shining, Dead Waters, The Hive, Scarecrow, Ash vs. Evil Dead, Blumhouse.
Which year had the most houses? Like, just of the houses only? Which had the most number ones? Which year?
Which had the most number ones? 27. Shining, Hive, Scarecrow, Ash vs. Evil Dead. 32 was Blood Moon, Yeti, Last of Us.
I think it boils down to that, right? Houses are why you're there. Everything else is extra. Houses is where it counts. If 27 has the most, you can't argue with it. And as much as we are arguing with it, it's the 9 house one, and it's doing so much with so much less, right?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's because there's so much less of it that they could focus on them and make them better? And now that there's so much more spread out, it's like, that their priorities are, spread out.
I think so.
Man, we just did like a study. I feel like a scientist.
This is almost impossible to figure out because there's such different lineups, and there were such great lineups each.
Yeah, it's hard, but I think we did it, right? 27 has to, and that's taking away even that it was our first one, and it was, we were all, sparkle-eyed going in. You take that away, and it's still highest racked points, I think. I mean, the food, I'm being honest, the food was a big, it was swaying my decisions.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's so fun, you get to experiment and play with food, and you name it. But you know what? I'm going to take it away, though, because they didn't have Surfer Boy Pizza fries. I hate you, whoever didn't think of that, which is everyone. No one thought of it. I hate everyone.
And I was thinking, well, I'm looking at the winner of the parade building for HHN27. That was Ash vs. Evil Dead, and I didn't entirely agree with that. I wanted Monsters Unmasked to win. However, even if that happened, even if we switched that back, HHN27 would still be the winner by a point.
Still, with that
the change. Count. Yeah.
Everything's fighting against it, and it's still number one.
All right. I think
That has to be the consensus.
I think I'm going to have to say it. I think HHN27 was the number one year that we've attended.
Yeah, I wasn't sure, but looking, you always think like, I think it was that one. Is this the? We don't have to think anymore, right? We know now.
The thing was, I always thought 28 was my favorite, but talking about it separately and
I guess you were wrong.
going over it, I thought 28 had a lot of great things to it, which it does.
We found more or less the truth. Because if we hem and haw and adjust stuff, I mean, but that's because we're doing this impartially. We're not trying to turn one. It's 27.
Yeah, I think we found it, everybody. I think HHN27 is the victor of our little tournament here. It was such a great year, and people are probably going to argue the hell out of this. But for us, I believe HHN27 to be the victor. HHN32 comes very close.
And something else I was completely striking from the decision making.
Mm-hmm.
Something I've been seeing a lot in just you look at everything changing. The Minions is in the new zone, and we might be saying bye to Simpsons, and we have this perfect pocket memory of being in the Simpsons, watching just fear happen with chainsaw clowns. The chainsaw clowns. Not you're not gonna settle for any other chainsaw horde. It's the clowns.
The clowns are the best by far.
Yeah, but taking away the nostalgia and the preservation of stuff that's not going to be there anymore, that was still a blast. Like I don't know.
I agree, man. 27, that's a year that's always going to kind of be in our memory and our hearts, because it was not only the first time, but it had so many great things about it. The weather was great as well. Had Bill and Ted. The house lineup was great. Scarecrow, top houses of all time. I mean, there's so many things that make it the best. So I am willing to throw everything away and say 27 is the best, 32 second.
It's going to be a little different eating pizza fries with a giant Pikachu mascot next to you,
It is.
A little bit different.
Now, again, everybody, we weren't able to attend HHN29. Would that have beat HHN32? The world may never know. But maybe somebody else can do that competition. Maybe another podcast can compare 29 to 32. Who knows?
Yeah, and take our considerations into account. I mean, take our stuff and run with that. Like expand on it.
Sorry, I said it can compare to HHN32. It can compare it to 27, which is the actual winner. But for whatever reason, I went to 32. But there we go. We have completed our mission. We have received the answer, and we are ready to close this out. Thank you guys for listening. Look out for future episodes, especially for announcement stuff, because there's going to be stuff coming out. There's got to be, hopefully soon. But we'll try to get these episodes out as fast as we can. And be sure to follow us on social media, on Instagram, on Twitter, and also Blue Sky. Check us out there.
Forget about it. Hey, all right.
Congratulations, HHN27. We will never forget you. The victor.
Number 1. It was hard. You earned it.
32 is still amazing, though. So is 28.
Yeah. This is too hard. I don't like it.
That's what she said. Good night.
You're damn right. Just wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while, giving you the hip at your face now. Wait a while.
Hey everyone, just wanted to give a quick shout out to my good friend Zach Weber, who provided our intro and outro song, Heebie Jeebies. You can listen to the full version of Heebie Jeebies on iTunes, Spotify, Pandora, or anywhere where you listen to your favorite music. Thanks for listening.